Hello, and welcome to my channel. Relax, and get ready to listen to today's story. Now I'm gonna tell you a story about one cozy winter night in a little cabin in the mountains. Emma Thompson stepped out of her car, her breath visible in the cold, crisp air. The snow-covered mountains towered above her, creating a breathtaking backdrop for the cozy cabin she had rented for her retreat. As she walked towards the cabin, each step crunching in the fresh snow, she couldn't help but feel a sense of tranquility wash over her. The cabin stood nestled amongst the tall pine trees, its wooden exterior painted a warm, inviting shade of red. Smoke billowed from the chimney, indicating a fire crackling inside. Emma's heart skipped a beat as she imagined herself curled up by the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa and watching the snowflakes dance outside the window. As she opened the door, a rush of warmth enveloped her. The interior of the cabin was small but charming, with wooden beams overhead and a rustic decor that exuded coziness. The crackling fire in the stone fireplace cast a soft glow, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Emma couldn't help but smile as she took in the picturesque view of the surrounding trees through the large windows. She dropped her bags by the door and ventured further into the cabin. The living area had a comfortable couch adorned with fluffy blankets and plush pillows. A small bookshelf stood against one wall, filled with well-loved novels and poetry collections. Emma felt a sense of peace wash over her as she imagined spending her days here, lost in the pages of a good book. The kitchen was compact but well-equipped, with a vintage stove and a quaint dining table that overlooked the snowy landscape. Emma could already picture herself cooking hearty meals and enjoying them by candlelight, relishing in the simple pleasures that this cabin offered. Upstairs, Emma found a cozy bedroom with a plush bed adorned with layers of soft blankets and fluffy pillows. The room had a window that overlooked the snow-covered mountains, offering a view that seemed straight out of a postcard. Emma couldn't wait to wake up to this breathtaking sight each morning. With a contented sigh, Emma unpacked her belongings and settled into the cabin. She hung her coat by the door and slipped into a warm sweater, embracing the peacefulness and solitude that awaited her. This retreat was her chance to escape the chaos of her everyday life, to reconnect with herself and find inspiration once again. Emma woke up to a world transformed by snow. The landscape outside her window was blanketed in white, the trees heavy with frost. She couldn't resist the urge to step outside and immerse herself in nature's beauty. Bundled up in a cozy scarf and gloves, Emma ventured out into the winter wonderland. The snow crunched beneath her boots as she took long, leisurely walks, her breath visible in the chilly air. The silence was almost tangible, broken only by the occasional chirping of birds or the distant sound of a river flowing. As Emma walked through the snowy trails, she marveled at the intricate patterns the snowflakes created on the branches of trees. She couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the beauty that surrounded her. It was as if nature had painted a masterpiece just for her. In the evenings, Emma would return to the cabin, her cheeks rosy from the cold. She would light a fire in the fireplace and curl up on the couch with a good book. The crackling of the fire and the soft glow of the flames filled her with a sense of contentment. It was in these moments that Emma felt truly at peace, as if all her worries and anxieties melted away. As the days turned into weeks, Emma found herself drawn to her writing once again. She had always been a storyteller at heart, but the demands of everyday life had slowly chipped away at her creativity. Now, in the solitude of the cabin, she felt her passion for writing reignite. Emma would sit at the small wooden desk in the corner of the living area, a cup of steaming tea by her side. She would let her thoughts flow onto paper, pouring her emotions and experiences into her writing. It was as if the blank page became a canvas for her soul, allowing her to express herself in ways she hadn't thought possible. The words flowed freely, and Emma found herself lost in a world of her own creation. Characters came to life on the page, their stories intertwining with her own. She wrote about love and loss, about dreams and fears, about the beauty and complexity of life. Each word was a brushstroke, painting a vivid picture of the human experience. But as Emma delved deeper into her writing, she began to confront her own insecurities and doubts. The blank page that had once been a source of inspiration now seemed daunting, mocking her with its emptiness. She questioned her ability to create something meaningful, wondering if she had lost her creative spark. Internal monologues plagued Emma's mind as she battled with self-doubt. "What if my writing is mediocre?" she would whisper to herself late at night. "What if I can never live up to my own expectations?" These thoughts gnawed at her, threatening to extinguish the fire that had burned so brightly within her. Emma would find herself staring at the blinking cursor on her computer screen, paralyzed by fear. The words that had once flowed so effortlessly now seemed to elude her grasp. She would spend hours in front of the screen, desperately searching for inspiration that seemed just out of reach. One particularly cold evening, as Emma sat by the fire with her notebook in hand, she found herself scribbling down her frustrations. She poured her heart onto the page, writing about her fears and doubts, her struggles as a writer. It was as if the act of writing itself became a cathartic release, a way for Emma to confront her demons head-on. She wrote about the expectations she had placed on herself, the pressure to create something extraordinary. She wrote about the fear of failure, of never living up to her own potential. But as she wrote, a glimmer of hope began to emerge. Emma realized that these struggles were not unique to her alone. Every artist, every writer had faced these same doubts at some point in their journey. In that moment, Emma made a decision. She would not let her fears define her. She would push through the self-doubt and continue to write, even if the words didn't come easily. She would trust in her own voice and embrace the vulnerability that came with putting her work out into the world. Determined to find inspiration outside the confines of her cabin, Emma decided to venture out into the nearby town. She had heard whispers of a quaint cafe where locals gathered, and she was eager to explore this new community. The cafe was nestled on a quiet street, its windows adorned with twinkling lights that cast a warm glow onto the snow-covered sidewalk. As Emma stepped inside, the scent of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods enveloped her, instantly making her feel at home. She found an empty table by the window and settled in, savoring the warmth of the cafe and the comforting hum of conversation around her. As she sipped her steaming cup of coffee, she couldn't help but notice a friendly face at the counter. "Is this your first time here?" a woman with kind eyes asked as she approached Emma's table. Startled out of her thoughts, Emma smiled and nodded. "Yes, it is. I just arrived in town a few weeks ago." The woman introduced herself as Sarah and offered to join Emma at her table. As they struck up a conversation, Sarah's warm demeanor put Emma at ease. They talked about the town's history and traditions, and Sarah shared stories about the people who called this place home. Emma was captivated by Sarah's tales, her words painting vivid pictures in her mind. She could almost imagine herself living in this town, becoming a part of its rich tapestry of stories. It was as if each person had a story to tell, a unique perspective that added depth to the community as a whole. As the afternoon turned into evening, Sarah invited Emma to join her for dinner at a local restaurant. Emma accepted, grateful for the opportunity to continue their conversation. As they walked through the snow-covered streets, Sarah pointed out landmarks and shared anecdotes about the town's past. The restaurant was bustling with activity as Emma and Sarah stepped inside. The aroma of delicious food filled the air, and laughter echoed from every corner. The town's residents had gathered to celebrate a local event, and Emma couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement in the air. Sarah introduced Emma to other townspeople, each one welcoming her with open arms. They exchanged stories and laughter, sharing their own experiences and traditions. Emma listened intently, fascinated by the diverse range of perspectives that made up the fabric of this community. As the evening progressed, Emma found herself drawn to the stories of different generations. Elderly residents spoke of times long past, of hardships endured and triumphs celebrated. Younger members of the community shared their dreams and aspirations, their hopes for the future. It was a symphony of voices, each one contributing to the collective narrative of the town. Emma realized that she was no longer a mere observer but an active participant in this community. She had become a part of something greater than herself, connected to the people around her through shared experiences and a collective sense of belonging. It was a feeling she had longed for, a sense of home she had been searching for. Inspired by the warmth and camaraderie of the community, Emma decided to give back. She reached out to a local charity and offered her time as a volunteer. The organization was hosting a charity event to raise funds for underprivileged children, and Emma was eager to make a difference. On the day of the event, Emma arrived at the venue, her heart filled with anticipation. She was greeted by a group of volunteers, all with smiles on their faces and a shared passion for making a positive impact. They worked together, setting up tables, arranging decorations, and preparing food for the attendees. As they labored side by side, Emma found herself forming deep connections with these individuals. They shared stories, laughed together, and bonded over their shared purpose. It was in these moments of collaboration that Emma realized the true power of community in shaping one's perspective on life. The charity event was a resounding success, with attendees pouring in to show their support. Emma watched as people from all walks of life came together, united by a common goal. She saw the joy on the children's faces as they played games and received gifts, their laughter filling the room. In that moment, Emma understood the transformative power of community. It was not just about giving back, it was about forging connections, about finding meaning in shared experiences. It was about realizing that we are all interconnected, that our actions have the power to touch lives and create lasting change. As the holiday season approached, the town came alive with festive decorations and joyful celebrations. Emma eagerly participated in the holiday festivities, immersing herself in the warmth and cheer of the community. The streets were adorned with twinkling lights, and carolers filled the air with melodic tunes. Emma found herself attending holiday markets, where local artisans showcased their crafts. She marveled at the intricate handiwork, from hand-knit scarves to delicately painted ornaments. The creativity and talent of the townspeople inspired her, reminding her of the power of artistic expression. The town's residents opened their doors, inviting Emma into their homes to share in their holiday traditions. She attended tree-lighting ceremonies, where families gathered to decorate towering evergreens with ornaments passed down through generations. She joined in on gingerbread house competitions and cookie exchanges, reveling in the shared laughter and love that permeated the town. Emma felt a renewed sense of joy and wonder as she immersed herself in these holiday festivities. It was as if the magic of the season had seeped into every corner of the town, infusing her own heart with a childlike sense of wonder. She realized that it was not just the beauty of the decorations or the delicious food that made this time special, it was the shared experiences and connections forged with others. As Emma continued to immerse herself in the community, she discovered that the stories and experiences of the townspeople inspired her writing. She realized that true inspiration came not from isolation but from connection and community. The tales she heard from the locals fueled her creativity and breathed life into her characters. Emma found herself seeking out conversations with different individuals, eager to hear their stories. She would sit at the cafe, notebook in hand, as people shared their triumphs and tribulations, their hopes and fears. Each story became a piece of a larger puzzle, a mosaic of human experience that Emma wove into her writing. She wrote about the elderly couple who had weathered countless storms together, their love a testament to the power of resilience. She wrote about the young artist who dared to dream, his passion igniting a fire within her own soul. She wrote about the immigrant family who had found refuge in this town, their journey a reminder of the strength of the human spirit. Emma realized that these stories were not just tales to be told, they were windows into the human condition. They were reminders of our shared humanity, of the struggles and triumphs that connect us all. And as she wrote, she understood that her own experiences were interwoven with those of the townspeople, that their stories had become a part of her own narrative. As Emma reflected on her time in the cabin, she realized how much she had changed. The self-doubt and fear that had once consumed her had been replaced by a newfound sense of purpose and belonging. She no longer questioned her abilities as a writer. Instead, she embraced her unique voice and trusted in her own creativity. Emma understood that her journey of self-discovery had been shaped by the people she had met and the experiences she had had in this town. The solitude of the cabin had allowed her to reconnect with herself, but it was the connections she had forged with others that had truly transformed her. She decided to stay longer, to fully embrace her newfound sense of belonging. The cabin had become her sanctuary, a place where she could retreat to when she needed solitude. But it was the community that had become her home, a place where she could share her stories and be a part of something greater than herself. With a heart full of gratitude, Emma finished her novel. It was a culmination of her experiences in the town, a tribute to the people who had inspired her along the way. As she read through the final pages, she knew that it was time to share her story with the townspeople. Emma organized a reading at the local library, inviting everyone she had met along her journey. The room was filled with familiar faces, each one eager to hear her words. As she stood before them, her hands trembling with nervous excitement, she felt a sense of purpose wash over her. She began to read aloud, her voice steady and filled with emotion. The words flowed from her lips, painting vivid pictures in the minds of those who listened. She saw the impact her words had on those around her, their eyes filled with tears and smiles. She realized that she had found her true purpose in both writing and connecting with others. As Emma finished reading, the room erupted into applause. The townspeople rose to their feet, their appreciation and support palpable in the air. In that moment, Emma knew that she had made a difference, not just in her own life, but in the lives of those around her. As she stepped down from the stage, Emma was surrounded by friends, old and new. They embraced her, their warmth and love a testament to the bonds they had formed. In that moment, Emma understood that true fulfillment came not from personal success but from the connections we forge and the impact we have on others. And so, Emma continued to write and share her stories, knowing that she had found her place in this town and in the hearts of its people. She had discovered that inspiration could be found in the most unexpected places, that true creativity blossomed when we opened ourselves up to the world around us. And as Emma looked out at the snow-covered mountains, a smile played on her lips. She knew that this was just the beginning of a beautiful journey, one filled with love, laughter, and an unwavering sense of belonging.